Hey everybody, this is Ian with Getting Work. We made it. We finally made it. Fantasy football season, the NFL season is finally upon us. Week 1 has started with the Bills and the Rams playing last night. We've gotten past it, all our preseason rankings. We don't have to hear the letters ADP anymore, at least for, a while. We all have dreams of our championships, our fantasy championships dancing in our heads. Everybody has hopes and dreams, and it's all there. Week 1 is upon us, finally. But draft is over. We're here. What do we do now? I mean, we spent so much time investing into this, right? What do we do at this point? Most important things we don't want to forget. We want to keep in our minds as we go into week 1 and 2, especially. And number one thing, do not overreact. No matter what happens in weeks 1 and 2, do not overreact. Remember, the same rules apply in fantasy as it does in real life. 0-2 isn't the end of the world, and 2-0 isn't either. 2-0 doesn't mean you've won anything. 0-2 doesn't mean you've lost it all. So, no matter how great your team may look in weeks 1 and 2 early on, you may look great. World beater. Could be fool's gold. At the same time, you may be 0-2, and your team's just starting off slow, and they're getting their feet under them, and once they do, they're going to run. So, keep that in mind. You're probably not as good as you think you are, and you're definitely not as bad as you think you are either. Only half the teams in week 1 win, right? You're only going to win half the time. So, between slow starts, odd rotations, teams learning new systems, all this are part of the deal starting out the gate. And that's especially true when you think of how the preseason was handled. This is a different way of only 3 games in the preseason. Teams didn't really play their starters. They're almost using week 1 a little bit, possibly like a preseason game, getting everybody just acclimated and going. So don't overreact. But at the same time, number 2, do you just sit there and go, it doesn't matter, week 1 and 2, I'm all good. I don't have to pay any attention to the way players are playing or performing in the first couple of weeks, right? No, that's not what I'm saying. Not by any stretch of the absolutely not, actually. Week 1 can be, just a one-off, slow start, that type of thing. 2 weeks becomes a trend, though. And if a guy is not performing or you see he's constantly out of the rotation, things like that, that could be a red flag. You just got to kind of know the team and watch the team and see what's going on. For the most part, you want to kind of divide up your your fantasy season into about 3 or 4 week parts. So by the end of week 2, you can start seeing that trend, a pattern starts to form, at least for that first quarter or so of the season. Number 3, look to take advantage of others in your league who may be not following steps 1 and 2. They may be overreacting. If that's the case, this could be a huge opportunity for you. Take advantage. It's a slippery slope. Granted, because they also may be watching this and thinking the same thing. Hey, let me take advantage of this other person that may be overreacting just a little bit. So you got to do one of those inward-facing moments and think about, why am I making this trade? Am I really making it to get something, or am I worried about something I'm giving? My team has started slow and I'm 0-2, 0-1, 0-2, that type of thing. So. But you can really take advantage here, and actually you can set yourself up to really dominate your league. For the most part, especially in leagues that are well-balanced, where the owners, all the managers are pretty equal as far as their ability, and that they all pay attention. No one auto-drafts, things like that. There's not one dominant team every year and that type of thing. For the most part, managers after the draft, teams aren't necessarily that different initially. But you can set your team up. If everybody's average and suddenly you make a trade and get that star player who might be on IR, might be just off to a slow start, a rotation, or, so a young rookie may not have the rotation, may not have the ability to jump in and out, that type of thing. Or maybe they're suspended. If that's the case, then maybe make that deal with that manager who started 0-1, 0-2. They're a little nervous. Take advantage. There's nothing wrong with that. It's part of the deal. And this is especially true when you think of the next topic that I'm going to talk about. So you can take the opportunity to trade by using this next step. Watch your waiver wire. Seems obvious. Seems so completely obvious. Use that waiver wire. You may be able to grab somebody off the waiver wire. Maybe you have an open slot, that type of thing. Go grab somebody off the waiver wire who just started off super strong, and maybe that other owner is going, oh, man, I really should go get this other player. He's so much better than the ones that I have. If I miss out on him, oh my goodness, this could be the end of my season, and I'm only in week 1 or 2. Take advantage of that. So we spend so much time and energy and everything, putting everything into drafting the perfect player, lining our, making sure our rosters are balanced, all of this, ADP. Sorry, you have to hear it one more time. ADP value, all of this stuff. We put so much into that. We get our draft over with. We get into the week 1 and 2, and we're kind of ready to blow it all up. And basically, after weeks 1 and 2, sometimes we find out just how little we actually knew about the season that we were heading into, and which offenses are good, which offenses are bad, which players are in this part of the rotation but not near the goal line, or things like that. So players that we expected to be in one spot aren't, and players that we didn't expect to be there are. And again, teams are up, teams are down. We find out in these early weeks exactly what's happening. So don't be afraid, though. If you see this, you have a player, he's not what you expected him to be. You know that this is going to be a trend, or he's gotten hurt. Maybe you've got a player that's just gotten hurt, and he's going to be out for 6 weeks or 8 weeks or the season. Don't hang on to him too long. There is that balance you have to strike. Don't hang on to him too long. There may be a new hotness out on the waiver wire that you want to grab. And even if you just want to grab them just to flip them, hey, it's like a house. You grab it, flip it, and get more money out of it so you can get more value out of it. Now, when these moments come, of course, remember the previous guidelines. Don't overreact. Think it all the way through, that type of thing. So hang on to these. Keep them in mind throughout the season, not just weeks 1 and 2, but specifically weeks 1 and 2. Those are the ones where you really are a little bit over anxious in those first couple of weeks when things don't just pop as the way we expect them to. Cooper Kupp likely is not going to go for 13 catches, 128 yards, and a touchdown every week. Maybe he might, but normally that's not the case. You get the idea. Anyhow, you've done all your prep. You sweated through the draft. Your team is assembled. Week 1 is upon us. Enjoy it. Later, fam.